Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker, and today we're going to have some story time. All right. Now, what am I holding in my hand? I'm holding in my hand not one, but two past due notices on a personal loan account that I have with one of the credit unions that I do business with. And the sad part about this is not that I received a past due notice because I didn't have the financial resources to make the payment. The sad part about it is I just wasn't being responsible. I just didn't take the time to transfer the money over here, to make the payment, you know? So I didn't even have a valid reason to not make the payment on time. But at any rate, let's read what it says. It says past due notice. So this is dated August 13th, 2025. Past due notice. Our records indicate that the above referenced payment was due on July 30th, 2025, and is now 14 days past due. Please remit the total amount due today to avoid further fees and charges. Disregard this notice if your payment has already been sent. And then they give you all the extra information, the mailing address and all that. So that was dated August 13th, 2025. All right. Now the current amount due was $279.70. That's off a personal loan that I got maybe 4 years ago, right? Most of the time I pay it on time. All right. And I want you to think I'm a complete deadbeat. I'm only a deadbeat once in a while. All right. Now, second page, right? This notice is dated August 20th, 2025. Another past due notice. Our records indicate that the above referenced payment was due on July 30th, 2025, and is now 21 days past due. Man, that's 3 weeks. They want their money. Please remit the total amount due today to avoid further fees and charges. Disregard this notice if your payment has already been sent. Now, just so you know, in case you're wondering, yes, at the time that I'm recording this video, this bill has been paid. It's been paid. I'm what is it? I'm paid up. I'm paid up, right? I have since, resolved this. All right. But here's the thing. Because I was 21 days past due, they hit me with a late charge, right? And that's the thing I don't like about being irresponsible and not paying my bills on time is that when they hit you with that late charge, whether it's a credit card company, whether it's a bank that gave me a personal loan or auto loan, I hate late charges, especially when they could have been avoided, you know. So it says that, well, let me back up. Why am I talking about this? Why is this on my channel? Why am I making a video about this? Because this is a real life mathematical situation where we can use this as an opportunity to practice calculating percentages. Now, what do I mean? This late charge is a dollar amount. But what I like to do is I like to find out, well, what percentage of the amount due was the late charge? I do the same thing when I go online to pay bills and they charge a surcharge. The online system charges a surcharge or what they call a convenience fee, right? I guess it's more convenient than writing out a check and mailing a check or hand delivering a check. I don't know if anybody still deals with checks. You know what I'm saying? But, it's the same thing. I like to know what is the percentage because they'll give you the dollar amount, but I'm always curious as to know what the percentage is. Now, if you're a parent watching this is something that your children will benefit from because my belief is that our children need to know how to speak in the language of percentages. Mathematics is a language. Percentages are part of that language of mathematics. We need to be able to speak and dialogue and converse in the language of percentages. And when somebody starts talking percentages, we need to know how to comprehend what they're saying. So many people don't understand what it means when somebody says, well, this is 20% off. This is 35% off, or this is a 15% markup, or the price of this went up by 10%. The price of that went up by 18%. They have no idea what that means. They just know it means it got something to do with money. But we should know specifically what that means as a concept and also as a quantity and an amount of money. So dig this. I was hit with a late charge of $19.20. All right, so I'm gonna write that down because that's important information. All right, so first, my late charge was $19.20. Wait, yeah, 2 bars. $19.20, right? Does a dollar sign have 2 bars or 1? I think it's only got 1. But I put 2 up here. So you know what? No, this is going to bother me. Let me fix that. Boom. Boom. All right. So my late charge was $19.20. Now, originally, how much did I owe? I still owed back in August $279.70. So I'm gonna say the amount due was $279.70. So like I said, this is a good opportunity for us to practice calculating percentages. I would like to know what percent of 279.70 is $19.20. All right. So I can kind of get a different idea of how much this $19.20. Because somebody might say, well, $19.20, that's almost $20. That's just $20. It ain't that deep. Yeah, but that's $20 I shouldn't have had to pay if I was being more responsible. Right. So, you know what I'm saying? So let's just, and it's a good way to practice. Because what did I say? I think that mathematics is a language. All right. And many people can attest to that. And within the language of mathematics, we have percentages. Percentages is a significant part of the language of mathematics, which we all need to understand because percentages are part of the language of business, commerce, making purchases, making sales. We need to understand percentages, right? We also need to understand percentages when people start talking about data, start talking about, sociology or social trends or whatever, right? If we don't understand what people are saying, we won't understand when people are lying and manipulating data to try to put forth an agenda and say things to us that are untrue. We need to understand percentages. So this is the opportunity to practice calculating percentages. So let's get into it. All right, so one way to do it, there are many ways to calculate percentages. One way to do it is what I call the proportion method or the Malcolm X method. And I'm gonna tell you why I call it Malcolm X, because we're gonna end up cross multiplying in an X formation, which reminds me of our ancestor Malcolm X. All right, so write this down in your notes if you don't already know it. It goes like this: is over of is equal to percentage over 100. Is over of, the word is divided by the word of is equal to percentage symbol divided by the number 100. Now, what does that look like? We come over here and we're going to replace whatever we can. Now, what is my original question? My original question is this: $19.20 is what percentage of $279.70? So because in my question, the word is went near the $19.20, I'm going to replace the word is with $19.20. So that's going to be my numerator in the first fraction, 1920, right? Now, I also said in my question, out of or of $279.70. So boom, let the word of get replaced by $279.70. Then I bring the equal sign over, not replacing that. The percentage, that's what I'm looking for. That's not given information. That's what we about to figure out. So I can use a variable to represent that. Let's say P. P stands for percentage. And then my fraction bar, then 100. The 100 is always going to be there when you use this method. When you do this setup, it's other ways to do it. Like I said, there's always many ways to solve any math problem. But the number 100 is always going to be there. Now, I'm trying to solve for P, meaning I'm trying to figure out what value P has. So now we're doing some algebra 1. So if you got a child in 8th grade, 9th grade, by 10th grade, they should have took algebra 1 already. But if in the event that they haven't, they might be taking algebra 1 in the 10th grade. Or they're taking geometry in the 10th grade, and geometry is just algebra 1 with a bunch of shapes. All right. So make sure your children understand this. All right. And also, they don't got to wait until they take it into school, because you can teach them at home. They can learn this in elementary school. They can learn this in 6th grade. You don't got to wait and follow the school curriculum. You don't have to do that. I want to be unequivocal about that. You do not, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, big cousins, whoever watching this, you do not have to wait and follow the school curriculum. You can go ahead. You can go ahead. All right. You don't got to wait for them. All right. And actually, I'm sure the schools would be happier if you didn't. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply using this Malcolm X method. We're going to X formation. I got 279.70 times P. So that's going to be 279.70P, right? See what happened? This times this gives me this. This times this gives me this. Boom. $19.20 times 100. So nice, neat little trick. Whenever you multiply a number by 100, all you do is take the decimal point, move that decimal point over 2 spaces to the right, not to the left, to the right. When we multiply, we move the decimal point to the right. When we divide by 100, we move the decimal point to the left. Same thing if we multiply, divide by 10, 1,000, 10,000, 20, 100,000, 1 million, whatever, right? We just playing with the decimal point. All right. So this is going to become 1,920. Now I'm trying to isolate P. Now we're doing algebra, right? So I'm trying to isolate this P right here. That means I'm trying to get rid of the coefficient. This is called a coefficient. 279.70 is called a coefficient. I'm trying to get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? I do the opposite operation from what that thing is involved in. What is 279.70 involved with? And what is it doing with the P? It's being multiplied by the P. It's being multiplied by the P. So if I'm doing the opposite of multiplication, that means I'm doing division to get rid of not the P. I'm not trying to get rid of P. I'm trying to keep P, but have P isolated by itself. I'm trying to get rid of this 279.70. So I divide by 279.70. Boom. Also, we stay balanced. When we do algebra, we stay balanced. So if I divide on the left side, also divide on the right side. Divide on the left side, divide on the right side. All right. So then we go 279.70. Boom. Now, what is 279.70 divided by itself? That becomes 1. 1 over 1. 1 times P is P. P divided by 1 is P. So notice how we got P. 279.70 divided by 279.70 is just 1. So that would be 1 times P. What's 1 times P? Plain old P, just regular P. Now we got 1,920 divided by 279.70. So the question is, how many times does 279.70 fit into 1,920? So I estimate that's close to 300, and this is close to 1,800, so around 6 times. But I'm gonna grab my calculator and do the math, right? So this is what I'm gonna do. Also, make sure you got a nice, little cheap, little scientific calculator that you know how to use. Make sure you know how to use it. All right. I also recommend, our iPhones, Androids got built-in calculators, but I don't recommend using those unless you absolutely have to, because it's very easy to get distracted while you're using those calculators. All right. Because you get notifications, social media, somebody might text you, somebody might call you. You know what I'm saying? You need to lock in when we're doing math. All right. So 1,920, 920 divided by 279.70 is equal to 6.8644. I'm gonna round this off to 2 decimal places. So I'm gonna say 6.86. Now, 2 decimal places, that's the hundredths place. Hundredths place. So this is 6.86. Now, there are numbers after the 6, but the next digit after the 6 is a 4, which means the 6 does not go up. It does not get rounded up to a 7. It remains a 6. When you're rounding, you have 2 choices. Either that digit is going to stay the same or it's going to go up. Stay the same or go up. Because the digit to the right is less than 5, we let it go, right? You might have heard this before, may not. But I'm going to tell you now, 5 and above, give it a shove, meaning you increase it by 1, or 4 and below, let it go, meaning you keep it the same. All right, so 6.86%. All right, now, if I want to round to the whole number, I might say P is approximate. The squiggly lines means approximate. This is an 8, so that makes the 6 go up and turn into a 7. So what does that mean? That means that late charge was essentially 7% of the amount I had due. That's a lot. That's a lot. 7%. And me doing the math on this, I had already did the math on this before I decided to do this video, but me doing the math on this, that gives me an added incentive, right, to pay my bills on time. Because I don't like just giving them 7% just because. Just like that's the what is it? The irresponsibility tax. I don't like that. 7%, that's like 7 cents on the dollar. That means so for every dollar that I owed them, I had to give them 7 cents, a nickel and 2 pennies. But it adds up because I owed them $279.70. So that's what that means, right? That's where that $19.20 came from. So again, this is a good way to practice calculating percentages with your children. I don't know. Some of us don't want our kids all in our business. We want them to think that, we just so financially literate and so financially responsible. Well, keep it real. We're not always financially responsible. We're not, right? And that gives us an opportunity to learn from our mistakes, right? And we can practice mathematics. Again, math that your children don't have to wait until they get to school to learn. They can learn it with you. In the car, in the house, in the kitchen, down the room, wherever. You know what I'm saying? They can learn it with you. Your children don't have to wait until they go to school to learn algebra. Your children don't have to wait until they go to school to get a chance to practice algebra. All right? Keep that in mind. I know we was raised a certain way to think that all the math education is supposed to take place in a school building. We were miseducated. We were miseducated. A lot of us, you know, we was miseducated. We gotta unlearn some things and relearn and learn some different things. You know what I'm saying? Some different approaches. So that's that. Make sure you know how to speak the language of mathematics, the language of algebra, and the language of percentages. All right. I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.